I was the manager at a local bar, not just of staff and stock, but of stories that each item in the bar carried. I watched as patrons soaked in the atmosphere, their eyes glittering with awe and a smidge of alcohol-induced haziness. I was dealing with a fresh delivery of microbrew when I heard the shattering sound. My heart dropped. I knew that sound, an antique crashing to the floor. A feeling of dread washed over me. It was an echo of a nightmare I'd had, a premonition. Rushing towards the commotion, my worst fears were confirmed. The Royal Marine Sextant, a precious item, handed down from the owner's grandfather, lay in pieces. It wasn't just an expensive showpiece, it was a relic, a symbol of our owner's family legacy, and an irresistible lure for curious customers. The culprit, a regular, stood by the wreckage, as tipsy as a ship in a storm, a look of sheer horror plastered across his flushed face. Quickly, I took control of the situation, ensuring the shards were swept away and the area cordoned off. Everyone was safe. The first part was handled, now onto the hardest bit, breaking the news to the owner. The tension hung in the air as I dialed the owner's number. My pulse thundered in my ears. We'd always had a good relationship, but this was uncharted waters. As I heard the phone ring, I rehearsed my words. But before I could speak, the owner beat me to it. "Listen, there's been a break-in at my house. I can't talk right now. If it's not urgent, we'll talk in the morning." His abrupt hang-up left me stunned. Suddenly, the situation seemed trivial. Yet, I knew, come morning, the missing sextant would add salt to his fresh wounds. I needed a plan. I turned to our resident antique restorer, an old man with magical hands and a fondness for our house whiskey. Over a shared drink and a hushed conversation, he studied the shattered pieces. His sigh spoke volumes. It couldn't be perfectly restored, but he'd do his best. The next morning, the owner walked into the bar, worry lines etched on his face. As he walked towards the now empty spot of the sextant, I braced myself. But, just as he noticed, our restorer stepped in, holding the piece together sextant. It wasn't perfect, but it was whole. "I heard about the accident last night," he said. "It isn't perfect, but I think it still carries the same stories, maybe even a new one now." The owner turned to me, eyebrows raised. His stern look melted away as he held the sextant. There was no anger, only a sad smile. "An artifact isn't just about the object, it's about the stories, the memories," he said. "This adds to it. It's not the same, but it's still a piece of my grandfather. Even though it wasn't my fault, it felt like it was since it was on my shift." He always seemed so stern and angry, so it was a total surprise that he thanked us for the effort to fix the piece. He even joked about next time to at least put the restoration fee on the person's tab.